*758#.
Good afternoon to you. It is the very first day of October, a sunny day in the heart of Nairobi City, and we do come to you live from KBC, the broadcasting house. Thank you for joining us for Lunchtime News. I am Nissie Imano. Now, Kenya Nutritionist and Dietitians Institute intends to partner with both the national and the county government to drive healthy food choices and dietary patterns for mothers and children through multi-sectoral engagement and resource mobilization. KNDI Chief Executive Officer Dr. David Okeo says they have written to the office of the First Lady, Rachel Ruto, to champion the program alongside 47 county government First Ladies. Speaking during the swearing-in of KNDI board, Dr. Evelyn Girigacha, Professor Gordon Nguka, council member, put on notice quacks masquerading as nutritionists, warning of dire consequence if caught. He added that they have intensified surveillance and that nutritionists operating without valid license are violating the law.
We want the right to adequate food fulfilled by this government, because if you have a healthy nation that is properly fed, then you can become a productive nation. And that is why we want to partner with the government, and already we have initiated this process by calling upon the Her Excellency, the First Lady, Rachel Ruto, to come up and run with the agenda of nutrition through healthy mother, healthy child in this country, along with the First Ladies of this country.
The regulation is continuously getting tightened, and we are catching up with these masqueraders or quacks who have been offering services in the name of nutritionist. We have so far intensified inspections in health facilities and even within the service delivery areas to ensure that those who are actually working are properly trained and are able to deliver services. We have also intensified surveillance. We are also asking nutritionists themselves, because right now they're across the country, they also become our eye, so that whenever somebody is delivering services and we are not sure, or they are not sure of their training, then that be reported so that we take action.
And moving on, Maendeleo ya Wanawake organization has hailed President William Ruto's move of appointing 7 women as cabinet secretary nominees. National Chair Rehab Mwikali, however, appealed to the head of state to consider more women for the permanent secretary's position, ambassadors, and other top government appointments. At the same time, the organization has urged Parliament to fast-track approval of the cabinet nominees, which will see a considerable inclusion of women in the cabinet. Mwikali reiterated their commitment to support President Ruto's government in the women agenda to empower them economically.
Your inaugural cabinet, composed of 10 women, brings to almost 50-50. This is what Maendeleo talked about in 1960 to the founding father. We are grateful. This has indeed demonstrated your confidence in the capability of women to lead and transform in key sectors critical for development of our nation. Assignment with the CEO from Moso.
Elsewhere, Mwingi residents now want the new administration to elevate the area to county. Speaking during a burial at Waita Ward, Mwingi Central Constituency, the residents led by area legislator Gideon Mulyungi said that with the promise of incorporating CDF into the constitution, a similar move should be done to ensure the creation of the county that will separate Mwingi from the vast Kitui County.
Tangaza mawaziri yake. Alituandikia mawaziri watatu, watoto wetu kutoka Ukambani. Akashinda Uhuru Kenyatta ambaye alikuwa ametuandikia mtoto mmoja. Kwa hivyo hapo tunataka kusema asante sana Ruto. Nataka pia ukukumbusha kwamba wakati ulikuwa unatembea huku mwingi ukiomba kura, ulituambia kwamba tukikupikia kura kuwa rais wa Kenya, utahakikisha kwamba Mwingi utaipatia county. Kwa hivyo nataka kukumbusha ya kwamba kwa sababu ulipatiwa kura na Wakenya na sisi tukawapatia ile chache tulikupatia, ile ahadi utitupatia ya kutengeneza Mwingi ikuwe county. Wakati tutakuwa tukibadilisha katiba, tukiweka CDF hapo ndani na mambo ingine ile unataka iwekwe ndani, ukumbuke kutuwekea Mwingi kama kaunti moja ile utaongezea katika Kenya.
Moving on, the Power of Mercy Advisory Committee now recommends the introduction of a parole system to supervise offenders and substitution of a less severe form of punishment for vulnerable groups. The committee, which has been collecting views from the public countrywide on the Power of Mercy Advisory Bill, further says offenders declared to be of unsound mind would be referred to the board for determination on how long they would be committed to a mental health facility.
In its second review and validation exercise at Charter Hall, Nairobi, the committee presented a draft of the Power of Mercy Policy Framework and Power of Mercy Amendment Bill 2022. In its recommendations, the committee proposed the introduction of a parole system to supervise offenders and substitution of a less severe form of punishment for vulnerable groups. The committee's task force further recommended that offenders who would be declared to be of unsound mind be referred to the board for determination on how long they'd be committed to a mental health facility.
What we call the probation team, they are really key in digging out information from the community and even workplace, home, everywhere. And then the doctor will also do their serial assessments, and then the whole report is combined and recommendations are made.
The vice chairperson of the committee, Dr. Janet Kirui, refuted claims that Article 133 was being abused as the process involved various stakeholders such as security agencies and the Victim Protection Agency.
This process involves many stakeholders, and part of the stakeholders are those ones who introduce the idea of control into the process. So the process is very thorough, and there is no way somebody is going to abuse even at the prisons level, because we rely on documents that also come from outside the prisons, like the probation, and the probation also rely on the national government officials.
For Lunchtime News, Efinya Kidi.
And moving on, Prime Cabinet Secretary nominee Musalia Mudavadi says the government is ready to work with both local and foreign investors and in the journey to revive Kenya's ailing economy. The ANC leader has called for support from international partners as Kenyans seek to regain economic stability. This even as the UDA leadership from northeastern Kenya welcomed the nomination of Garissa Township MP Aden Duale as the Defense Cabinet Secretary.
Mudavadi, who attended the Hindu Brahmotsavam celebrations in Nairobi, decried the economic hardships in the country, promising that President Ruto's administration would be hands-on on the economic recovery plan.
A few days ago, in fact it was yesterday, when the President spoke at the official opening or state opening of Parliament, he did not mince his words. He said that we are not sitting pretty at this point in time, and therefore it will call again for our effort to pull together so that we can start moving forward more aggressively.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary nominee says the government will work with investors and international partners in the economic recovery plan. Mudavadi has called for support towards government efforts in tackling the effects of the adverse drought situation that has since hit at least 23 counties so far, with many Kenyans in the affected areas appealing for aid.
On behalf of the government of Kenya, I'd like to also take this opportunity to say that we would be happy to engage even more robustly beyond this, so that through your networks and your effort, you can also help in complementing even further what the government is trying to do in mitigating the negative effects of this drought that is causing a lot of problems in the country.
Mudavadi has also called on the Asian community to continue striving to participate in the democratic processes in Kenya.
I also want to stand here and to thank you that you have participated in the democratic process of this country. We are seeing greater participation from Kenyans of Asian origin, stepping forward, becoming competitive in very many seats, whether parliamentary or at MCA level.
In the meantime, Northeastern leaders drawn from the Kenya Kwanza Alliance have welcomed the nomination of Garissa Township MP Aden Duale as a Defence Cabinet Secretary. The leaders say the appointment of Duale is a testament of President Ruto's faith in the region.
The appointment of Honorable Duale as Cabinet Secretary for Defence is a gain for the entire Northern Kenya and a demonstration of goodwill by His Excellency the President towards the region.
We thank His Excellency William Ruto, the President of Kenya and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, for have very serious confidence in us.
I believe strongly that Aden Barre Duale will do a good job in the defense docket. Aden Barre Duale has stuck with the President since the days of ODM.
The leaders have also called on the government to declare the ongoing drought a national disaster, with a humanitarian crisis evolving in the region. John Jacob Curia, Lunchtime News.
And moving on, Chinese ambassador to Kenya, Zhu Pingjian, says the country's doors for cooperation with Kenya will always remain open. The ambassador emphasized Friday that Beijing is ready to enhance and expand cooperation with Nairobi for the benefit of the people. Speaking after awarding scholarships to 25 Kenyan university students to study in China, the top diplomat described Kenya and China as very good friends.
China and Kenya are preparing to celebrate the 60th anniversary of their diplomatic relations, and Chinese envoy to Kenya is expressing optimism that the two countries will build on past achievements. The diplomat, who awarded scholarships to 25 Kenyan university students, noted that education is the gateway to any economic development, citing latest technologies that have catapulted China to an economic powerhouse.
Education is one of the priority areas for our bilateral cooperation. So I hope the embassy with the university, with the universities, or the government to government, or the people to people, we can do more to promote the exchanges and cooperation in the education sector.
He undertook to ensure Kenya gets adequate support from China to finance the education sector.
The embassy started this scholarship program 10 years ago, and we are happy we could play a small part in rewarding the talented students in Kenya. So for us, it's only the natural thing to do, and we'll try to do more.
University of Nairobi Dean of Students Johnson Ireri Kinyua, who represented the institution's Vice-Chancellor at the ceremony, hailed the embassy for the scholarships, saying that the awards will have a huge impact in the country.
As you know, the country will never grow without the aspect of education, skills and competence of its manpower. And this contributes towards the development of the manpower that the country is gearing to achieve, so that we can achieve our Kenyans Vision 2030, as well as the Africa Agenda 2063.
Some of the students who received the scholarships were grateful for the gesture.
But in the university, for you to enter, for you to register, you have to clear your first year school fees. It was very problematic. The alumni of the Jomo Kenyatta Foundation Scholarship, they are the ones who contributed and paid my first year school fees. After the second year, this scholarship was advertised through our emails, and I have applied, and currently I'm here.
I'm grateful to the Chinese ambassador for giving me this chance to be able to realize my dreams, and then know in future I'm going to be somewhere in this country, and also I'll be able to give back to the community.
The Chinese Ambassador Scholarship has been running for the last 10 years, and 344 university students from various public universities in Kenya have so far benefited.
We're taking a break, but we'll be back in just a bit. Don't go too far.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Are you a holder of unclaimed financial assets? Take advantage of the Finance Act 2022 moratorium on penalties and interests. Surrender any unclaimed financial assets in your possession today. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
You have watched Turning Point International for 25 years on KBC Channel 1. Real life stories by people whose faith and lives have been changed for the better, plus a great deal of gospel music. We hear the life-changing story of Muyiwa Olarewaju, the host of Turning Point International on The Living Legends. Saturday, the 1st of October 2022 at 9:30 p.m.
At KBC Channel 1, we put people at the heart of events with our captivating weekly news features. Every day, we are breaking new grounds with informative, entertaining, and inspiring human interest stories. On Mondays, 9 p.m., we have The Cabinets. Tuesday, 9 p.m., we get inside the barracks for military tales. We delve in the world of cinemas and theater each Wednesday night. For the young and industrious, make a date with us every Thursday at 9 p.m. Fridays are dedicated for my culture. On Saturdays, we go back in time for history in perspective. And on Sundays, we get to know the process of how things are done and made. KBC Channel 1 News features a whole lot of wonderful viewing experience.
And welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now moving on, as Kenya joins the world in marking the International Day of the Elderly, stakeholders in Kisii have called for respect and a stop to abuse often meted on the elderly in sections of society. The stakeholders drawn from the national government, civil society organizations, and gender activists condemn acts of violence and behavior that brings any form of suffering to the elderly.
Observed every 1st of October globally, the International Day of Older Persons was introduced by the United Nations General Assembly with the aim of honoring the contribution of older persons and looking into the problems that they face. Marking the occasion at Nyakonyi in Kisii County, Director for Social Development Lysel Mogaka attributed the plight of the elderly to land limitations, lack of resources and cultural practices including non-inheritance of land by daughters and widows in sections of society.
And the abusers are not strangers, they are family members, either neighbors or people who are known to you. So we want to ensure that there is that collaboration among the old generation and the young generation to ensure that human rights are well taken care of, particularly emphasizing on the rights of the older persons.
Jude Togo, Country Director, Helpage International Kenya, decried unfriendly policies which do not favor old persons.
Let's consider ways of putting in place an environment that enables older people to be resilient, an environment that safeguards the rights and well-being of older people.
Various officials from civil society organizations and gender activists also condemned cultural practices that brought suffering to the elderly.
Tuko hapa siku ya leo kuidhinisha hii siku na kupeana umuhimu wa kuchunga mzazi aliye kati ya miaka 60 kuendelea juu, because these are people we have in the society, these are people we are supposed to take care of, and these are people who depend solely on us.
Trevor Ngendo for Lunchtime News.
And elsewhere, the Kenya Tea Development Authority has fired 8 senior employees for allegedly colluding with former directors to make a comeback. This happens few days after a group ousted from leadership by farmers last year stormed various factories and the KTDA headquarters in a bid to take over office forcefully.
Speaking after chairing a meeting of KTDA directors of 60 factories in zone area Kiambu County, KTDA Chairman David Ichongo said the move to fire the 8 senior employees is a step in the right direction.
Hii ni sekta kwanza ambayo imeleta pesa mingi ya mali ya kigeni, almost $1 billion ambazo ni hard cash in terms of, we don't have any other sector apart from the diaspora which come close second in terms of contribution to our economy. So we are not going to accept that, and we are moving forward.
The employees are alleged to have worked in cohorts with former directors to get their way back to office.
I also want to take this to condemn the old directors for disrupting the processes in our factories, and because the president has spoken and the deputy president, we are so grateful for the support that they are giving us.
The meeting, which was also attended by, among others, Gatundu South Member of Parliament Gabriel Kagombe, declared as persona non grata members of the group kicked from office by farmers.
Some joke or who's trying to bring any chaos into this industry is most unwelcome and will be dealt with by the law with equal force as they try to come.
Kagombe, who is also a director of Ndarugu and Theta Tea factories, said he and other newly elected legislators will ensure farmers' interests are not undermined by selfish cartels.
We are going to mete out serious force against anybody who is trying to distract the farmers and the steps taken and gained by farmers in the tea subsector.
We are going to serve them diligently.
I want to assure our stakeholders, financial institutions, our buyers, our consumers that the institution is stable and we focus professionally to manage the organization to ensure that we are able to succeed.
Timothy Kipnoso for Lunchtime News.
And a 9-year-old mini Miss Kenya 2022 winner, Margaret Andrea, is set to represent Kenya for international beauty competition to be held in Dubai. The young model from Kilifi County emerged the best in the Little Mr. and Mrs. Kenya held on the 18th of September this year at Kenya National Theatre in Nairobi.
The young model, who is a pupil at Bright Beginnings Kindergarten Preparatory at Bofa area in Kilifi, is not only a winner in Kilifi County but also countrywide under category 9 to 11 years old. The youngster Margaret Adrea owed special credits to her mother for the outstanding support, while urging other parents to emulate her if they want their children to succeed. Her mother, Josfrida Nyamvula, expressed joy for her daughter's achievements and hopes that it will be a chance for greater opportunities in the future.
First, I want to say thank you to my mother, and she supported me, so I say thank you. And for the other parents, I say support your children so that they can show whatever they have, if it's now or never.
Magi kwa sasa ni Kilifi to the world. Kwa hivyo tayari pia ashapata mwaliko kuelekea sehemu ya Dubai ili kuweza kuwakilisha Kenya katika mashindano ya international kule sehemu za Dubai ambayo tunatarajia ndani ya mwezi wa 10 hapo tarehe 18.
The beauty coach Jacqueline Nyambura called on both the county and the national government to give upcoming models platforms to express and earn through their talents. Sentiments echoed by the Bright Beginnings Kindergarten Preparatory Director Leah Mureithi, who called for the establishment of special institutions to help support children with talents.
Kama wazazi tuna ignore talanta za watoto wetu. Alafu pia ingekuwa ni wakati mwafaka sana kama Kilifi tungeeka hizi academies za kukuza talents za watoto. Manake kwa sasa ni kama hatuna. Tukikuwa na different academies za kukuza talanta, tutafika mbali kama county.
Pauline Nasimiu for Lunchtime News.
And moving on, education stakeholders in Embu County have urged men to consider taking beauty courses in technical vocational institutes. Speaking during the third graduation of Glamourland Technical Vocational Institute in Embu County, Meru Teachers College Chief Principal Dr. Faith Gichovi said that many young men lack employment after failing to secure admission in universities for ignoring such prestigious courses. The stakeholders urges parents to embrace TVETs, saying it is where the bright future of the youths lie.
If you have a course, especially in beauty therapy, you can't miss something to do. There is always work. So that unemployment, we are waiting for the government to employ us, we are waiting for this, it will reduce drastically, I believe.
Now, I would also want to speak to the government, both national and county. If there is anything that can transform this country, is paying and giving much attention, even budgetary attention, to TVET trainings. Because this is a hard-on, where people work for themselves with their hands and they earn a living. They can develop this country very much, because this is an industry. And if we are going industrialization, it is good to begin with these small institutions where even people without much education can get these certificates, and from there they can develop.
And in sports, national volleyball team Malkia Strikers will qualify for the second round of the FIVB World Championship if they beat Puerto Rico in their last preliminary match this evening in Netherlands. Any team that loses today's match will be eliminated, as the winner remains in the Netherlands for more matches.
The Kenyan team coached by Luzemad Demora must win the match in order to secure their place in the second round, where they will join Group A leaders Italy, Belgium and Netherlands. On Thursday night, Malkia Strikers gave a good conduct of themselves before losing to the European champions Italy 3-0, while Puerto Rico stopped African champions Cameroon 3-0 to set up a crunch match this afternoon.
Kessa with the set. She couldn't have blocked that early point either because she's back row. Good defense by Italy. Oh, what a pick-up, Chamba. Oh, yes.
Kenyan coach Luizimad Mora, assisted by Paul Baitok, made a tactical decision to rest captain Massimoim and Edith Waisa, probably to keep them fresh for today's must-win encounter. Instrumental opposite hitter Sharon Chepchumba, who is the highest scorer for Malkia in the tournament so far, led from the front with a game-high 17 points. Kenya lie 5th in Pool A with 3 points after winning one match. Unbeaten Italy tops the standing on 12 points, 3 ahead of Netherlands and Belgium. Puerto Rico is 4th with 3 points. For Lunchtime News, I'm Sela Onyango.
And Tottenham Hotspur will be aiming to beat Arsenal at their Emirates backyard for the first time since 2011 when the two sides clash in today's North London derby. In Spain, Real Mallorca will host Barcelona while Atletico Madrid will be away to Sevilla.
So Saka trying to go around his man, pulls the ball back and it's in! Arsenal have scored!
English Premier League leaders Arsenal will extend their lead to 4 points if they beat third place Tottenham Hotspur in today's early kick-off match. At Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace will host Chelsea and a win will take them to a only point behind the Blues. In other matches, Liverpool host Brighton, Bournemouth welcome Brentford, Fulham play Newcastle United, Everton are away to Southampton, while West Ham entertains Wolves. In La Liga, Barcelona will leapfrog Real Madrid with a win at Mallorca, while Sevilla welcome Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. In Italy, Napoli host Torino, Inter Milan welcomes Roma, while defending champions AC Milan are away to Empoli.